What is up, everybody? This is Mark for 90% Sports. I'm joined tonight here by Geoff,
What's up, guys?
and we're going to talk some Mountain West football.
Because, yeah, there's blue turf and crap out there.
Yeah, blue turf. So, last year, the champion, Fresno State. This year, who do you got?
Boise State.
Why?
Because they play on the blue turf. No, I think even though Chris Peterson's now at Washington, they still got talent there. Not as much. They've lost more recently than they did back when they had Kellen Moore and all that. But they've still got talent, and I'm totally blanking on their new coach's name. Brian Harsin, who just came back to Boise State after yet another coach went 1 year to Arkansas State and still did really well. They just keep doing one-and-dones on coaches. Yeah, he's former offensive coordinator at Boise State before Brent Pease was there for a season. He had Kellen Moore clicking on all cylinders. I think he can get their offense clicking again. We'll keep it clicking. They were like TCU back when TCU was in Conference USA and Mountain West. They would recruit these 2-3 stars, occasionally get a 4-star, and find a way to make an elite defense out of it. And I think they'll do that again. Plus the blue turf where birds just die. You not heard about that?
That's sad.
Like, seriously, birds fly over and they think it's like a lake, and they're like, I'm going to go get some fish. And it's just,
Wow.
yeah,
Good thing it doesn't happen during games.
that would be hilarious if it did. Just some kid gets hit in the back of the helmet. All right, who is your champion?
My champion for the Mountain West is going to have to be Utah State.
Ooh.
Last year, they started off really good, but Chucky Keaton got hurt, their star quarterback. So this year, if he can stay healthy, I think they got a good shot at, taking the conference.
Yeah, not going to lie, I had them as my sleeper.
Ah,
Simply because they lost a good amount on defense, I think, and they lost their coach and their defensive coordinator. Both ended up going to Wisconsin.
so if we're going to look at the big games coming up in the Mountain West this year, I think the one that gets circled is my favorite to win the conference against your favorite to win the conference, which would be November 29th on a Saturday. Most likely it'll be a night game, and it's going to be Boise State versus Utah State.
Yeah, I can see that being. It's already going to start later simply because they're a Western team and ESPN does everything off of Eastern time. But, yeah, that's going to be a good game. I'd say the team I'm looking forward to the most and the game I'm looking forward to the most is probably Wyoming's first conference game of the year. It'll be early. It'll be the second Saturday in the season, September 6th. They'll welcome Air Force into Laramie. It's simply because it's Wyoming. Because they just hired Craig Bohl, the head coach from North Dakota State.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he really couldn't do anything more at North Dakota State.
Yeah, I mean,
They didn't have the money to move up because their athletic program just isn't that big. So he kind of did the only thing he could do and was move up himself.
it was a small step to move up to, but
It's a new challenge.
he could turn it around.
If he can turn around Wyoming, because just a few years ago, Wyoming was actually like, they had some decent offenses. Their defense always kind of struggled a bit, and that held them back. But their offense was usually pretty fun.
Right. It's probably interesting to point out the fact that the Mountain West has no teams in the top 25. Typically the top of most conferences at least have one team that makes it.
Maybe not like the MAC or the Sun Belt, but yeah, traditionally, the Mountain West has had one or two teams, maybe starting in the bottom of the top 25.
Right. So
You'll have like a Fresno State or a Boise State.
So you think they're just having a downswing as a conference, or do you think you know why?
It might be that their top teams aren't as good as their top teams usually are, and you've seen improvement in some of the middle teams in other conferences.
Right.
So it's like it's usually you can go the middle of, say, the SEC or the ACC, Pac-12, whatever, and it's usually like about the same, maybe a little better, maybe a little worse than the top of these mid-majors. I think right now the top of the mid-majors, at least when it comes to Conference USA, Sun Belt, MAC, Mountain West, slipping a little bit right now. And you got the middle, at least in a few of these conferences, is getting a little better. Like, you've got teams like Wazoo, who's actually a little better right now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that even in the Mountain West, I mean, you got some of the smaller teams that used to not be as good that didn't put up any challenge at all to these top teams. I think they're starting to give them a challenge and pulling a couple upsets, and it throws it off because if you're not undefeated or you don't have like one loss, you're not going to be in the top 25 if you're in one of these smaller conferences.
Kind of like a Kaepernick-powered Nevada a few years ago that took out Boise State.
Right, exactly.
Except it was really that kicker missing like 3 million kicks.
Yeah.
We've established who do you think Utah State will face in the championship game and who will host it?
I see Utah State facing Fresno State because Fresno State last year they went 11-2. I think they're going to keep the momentum rolling. They got some good recruits in last year, so I just see them having the same success as last year.
I agree with you completely. If it wasn't for Utah State and Boise State being in the same division, I would have those two. But my championship game is Boise State versus Fresno State, and I think the game will be on the blue turf, Smurf City.
Yeah, and having that home field advantage is going to be huge, especially with it being Boise State. I mean,
Yeah,
they're dominant at home.
You take a Central California team and put them in Boise in, December 6th, I think it is.
Right, so it'll probably be snowing.
Yeah.
So that could turn to white turf.
Oh, or light blue turf, or just really wet blue turf.
Yes.
Guys, that wraps up our Mountain West preview. For Mark, I am Jeff. You've been listening to 90% Sports.
10% pastures.